Hey, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Not Quite Prime Time. I'm Chris. There's Jen.
Hey.
And there's Maddie. Hey,
Hey,
guys. What's going on here tonight?
not too much.
Hey, we didn't, Jen, you didn't get in here until like 30 seconds ago. We were worried about you.
I was doing some hard work. I was busy.
do we want to know what's going on?
No, it's a surprise.
Oh, okay. Okay. Is your show and tell your dinner? Is that what it's going to
No,
be
I
tonight?
actually ate before this. I ate like over an hour and a half ago.
Wow.
Wow. Look at you, all up and ready to go. Well, welcome to it. It is episode number 9 of the Not Quite Primetime show with Chris, Jen, and Matt. Our special guest tonight will be Lee Carpenter. She's going to join us from the Chatham-Kent Public Health Unit, and obviously a big day there, so a lot of conversation there. And James Rasmussen is one of the guys behind the May 16th Miracle, which is just announced on Friday, which we'll talk about a little bit later on. So now we're live on Facebook, and we're live on YouTube now as well, guys. So you can watch us on the YouTube. You can watch us on Facebook. We're taking over the world slowly but surely. Oh, Jason, I don't know if we want to put that up there. Jason wants to. He's got some wild hair going on tonight. See, I'm wearing the hat here tonight.
This is tamed, my friend. This is tamed.
This looks tamed. Gordo says, sup, Chris? What's going on, buddy? Hey, Gord, Jen, is the one guy who was showing off his, what were we talking about this morning? The squirrel picnic table.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, right on.
Yeah, so we were talking about that in the things Jen found on the internet, and Mark Lush over at Giant Tiger is an amazing woodworker. The guy does amazing work, and he made Gord a little squirrel picnic table. That was pretty cool. Gordo, if you can post a link there on the Facebook, see if you can do that. So no, it was pretty cool. He's kind of posted. Gord put a picture up, and he's got it on his gazebo in his backyard. So I haven't seen any pictures of any squirrels in it, but I love that idea. It's pretty cool. So, really neat. All right, so yeah, those guests will come up here a little bit later on Not Quite Prime Time, but we're gonna have some fun to start things off. Jen, are you ready for this? Is it ready to go?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Jen. And show and tell here tonight. She is Matt did last week, and Jen's up here first. What do you got, Jen?
Just a quick comment on my hair. I situate myself in front of this picture frame so it blends in. Anyway.
Right.
Okay, so my first, in September, my first real shift, and I was supposed to be on air, not just watching. Yep. I was late. I woke up late, and I just kind of rolled in right on time.
I remember that, yes.
Yep. So my great aunt, she was listening to the show, and she found that out, and she's an artist. So she made this sculpture with a clock and a person sleeping.
Oh, wow.
And on the back it says 5 more minutes.
No way.
And my great aunt Gail Lemery, she's the artist, and
cool.
She made that for me. And it was so funny because she's like, yeah, I heard that you slept in, so I made you this.
That is so awesome. Does it work though? Is it a working clock?
No, it's just a piece of art.
Oh, very nice. Very nice. That was still my favorite. So Jen was a little bit nervous, rightfully so, about her first shift on CKSY. And you had been in for, a week at that point?
Yeah, probably.
Coming in every morning and basically sitting next to me watching, but not saying anything. And then the morning that you had to begin, I'm there at 4. Quarter after 4. No, Jen. No big deal. 4:30. No big deal. 4:45. No big deal. Matt comes in just before 5. That's weird. What time did I ended up calling you, Jen? It was like,
I think right at 5.
Yeah, at 5 o'clock. I was just like, "Hey, new girl, are you coming in?"
On my way.
Oh, yeah. And you played it off. You're like, yeah, I'm on my way. I'm coming in right now. But you know what? It's probably for the best, because then you didn't have time to think about it. Because now you were like, I just like, you didn't have much time. So
yeah,
the only person on their first day who
it happens every 7 months. We've found out.
Yeah. Wasn't it just a couple weeks ago too?
Yeah, I slept in again, but
nobody noticed.
To make it on air on time.
Yeah, nobody has any clue.
That's right.
I've had 2 sleep-ins, and I made it by 6:15 the first time, and 1:45. So 45 minutes late and 15 minutes late. And yeah, there's no worse feeling than rolling in and not being,
No,
being ready. Patty, you've never been late, and you come in from Little Amsterdam out in Tilbury.
Yeah, that's right. No, I haven't been late for a regular shift. There was one time when I was working weekend shift, and I think we had just changed the shift to start an hour earlier or an hour later or something like that. And I remember jumping in the shower and just being like, oh, it's 5:00, so I got a little bit of time yet before I can get in. I can take my time, and then remembered all of a sudden, oh no. Oh, that shift starts like in 15 minutes. So I was like jumping out, is like racing down there to get there. Because when it's time sensitive like that, you got to be on. So
Oh yeah. And the thing is, when we're late, and I still have people, hey, remember that time you were late? Yeah, like 8 years ago.
Yeah.
But you still get it. Hey, I want to say, hey, there's Brooke. Brooke's going to jump in here. Say, hey, Madame Brooke. We went and saw her, Jen, with our class of the month over what they call Sainte Marie. Bonjour. Do you want to read that in French, Jen? Or are we going to pass on that one? Bonjour. Yeah, we'll let that go because Brooke knows I can't.
Bonjour. Shout out to all my amazing coworkers at ESM.
Au revoir, Brooke. We'll let you go.
Baguette.
Jen, did you have anything else for show and tell, or is that all? Because when we teased it on Thursday, you were just like pulling everything out of your
I could pull out
there.
some more stuff. I mean,
no, let's save it. I just didn't want to.
Here.
I didn't want to cut you off.
No, it's all good. So this is a mug that I got made, and it's me and one of my best friends. That's me.
Oh, nice.
And that's one of my best friends, Carly. I used to have blonde hair. And she's from BC, so I got this inscribed on the back. I hope I don't spill what's in here.
Oh, you don't want to spill your wine on the couch.
It's pretty valuable.
And I have this pen. It has a map on it.
Now she's just pulling things out. What is this pen now?
I don't know.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm just down.
Oh, this is a Baby Yoda shirt. I got this. This is new.
Jeez. Where did you get something new in this pandemic?
I got this as a gift.
Oh, very nice.
When I was babysitting Cheryl from CFCO's sister's dog, when they went to Disney World ages and ages ago, they got me this Baby Yoda shirt as a thank you.
Very nice.
Or
I think we're done with show and tell because otherwise we'll be here forever. Our guests are standing by, so let's pull them in now. First guest is Karis Carpenter from the Chatham-Kent Public Health Unit. Let's pull her in. Hey, Karis, good evening. How are you? Oh, I can't hear you. Oh no.
Wait, she knows sign language.
Yeah,
language. This is good.
This is good. Chatham-Kent Public Health. This is better. I could kick her off the screen, but I like this better. Karis Carpenter from Chatham-Kent Public Health. Obviously, a big day today with the COVID-19. Clickety click. No, we still can't hear you. We still can't hear you.
Do you think you have it muted on your end, Chris?
No, I do not. No. Well, Karis, get it. She's gonna.
I can show you guys some more stuff.
No. We don't want that. It's not that bad yet. It's not that bad yet. It's not that bad. Thanks for the comments here coming in. Hi guys, Christina's always listening out in the Wheatley area. We appreciate that out there. I went to high school with Christina, so she's tuning in here tonight. We appreciate it. Karis, are you good to go now? Can we hear you?
Classic.
Oh, that don't work. That's funny. Oh, she's just clicking around. You know what we can do? Karis, you hold on, okay? We're going to skip to our next one. James Rasmussen is here. Let's see if James is good to go. James is out in Thamesville tonight. Hey, James, how you doing?
What's going on?
There you go. Good stuff. So, Karis, we'll come back to you, Karis, here in just a couple minutes. So, James Rasmussen is with us. James is one of the guys behind this right here. This is let me see, I've got it all set to go, the May 16th Miracle, and it's going to be a big, giant food drive, and some of the information came out on Friday afternoon. And James, are you the man behind this, or are you just part of like the brain trust that came up with it?
There's a lot of us that are collaborating and thinking about this. I think we've all been impacted in so many ways over the past number of weeks. So a group of us were talking about what's our response going to be, and we came up with an idea that was this at the time. So it's a group of us. It's not one individual, that's for sure.
Well, I was turned on to your story early into last week, and then I was on the Zoom call, and I was telling Jen and Matt about this. There was 150 people on that Zoom call, I think, at one time. I have never been on a Zoom call like that. Is that the highest number of people you've ever had on a Zoom call during these crazy times?
No, but for something that what we're trying to organize, it was certainly something very unique. Zoom calls are typically done through work, and like a meeting you sort of have to attend. But for this, it was a little bit different. It was about people coming together that didn't have to. It wasn't, there was no sort of professional mandate to it. It's just a bunch of people saying, I want to know more and participate. So from that perspective, it was completely mind-blowing and overwhelming for sure.
Let's start right at the beginning. What is the May 16th Miracle, and explain what this is all about?
So it really is about us all coming together to do a food drive across Chatham-Kent. I think one of the when you go through something like this in the world, I think there's visible challenges that we face, and there's challenges that aren't so visible. So, for example, we have frontline workers that are heroes, and they're all around us, and they're putting their lives on the line. They're working around the clock, and that's very visible. And there's people being impacted by COVID-19, which is very visible. But behind the scenes, we have a lot of issues with access to food happening, and that's sort of less visible. So for us, it was sort of deciding how can we make an impact here. So we're doing a community-wide food drive. So that means I don't know geography down here too well. I'm not an expert in the region, but all communities we're going to be in, whether it be something like Merlin or in Erio or Rondeau or Bothwell or Thamesville, Highgate. I'm missing a whole bunch. I think there's like 30.
Yeah.
But we're going everywhere. So that's important for us, that it's a community-wide initiative, not just one location. So it's May 16th at noon. We're asking the entire community to put it on perishable on their doorstep, and we're going to pick it up.
And I had some questions when we mentioned that you were coming on today, and right away some people were wondering, okay, it's a food drive, seems like not an easy idea when you go across the entire county, but the idea of collecting food from everybody and the organization, the logistics that's behind this, but also at the same time having to be socially distancing from each other. What do you tell people when they right away say, well, how can we do this when everybody's got to keep their distance and we can't all be in the same place? What's your thought on that?
It's a really great question. We're working with public health. So Lindsay Davidson has been helping us right from the first moment we thought about this was a check-in with public health. So it's important for us that safety is front of mind, almost the most important part. So, following best practices put out by Health Canada and by our local officials, our health officials. So social distancing, washing hands, disinfecting. So for everyone who's going to be donating and putting a non-perishable on their doorstep, we would ask that you wash your hands first. For those picking it up, they'll have the appropriate mechanism in place to stay safe as well. So it's and if we're doing any kind of rural pickup, so in some of the rural areas, we'll have a pickup truck or a drop-off zone. So we'll similar to how you see at the grocery stores, we'll be keeping our distance. We'll be marking the ground, so we're following safety. So all these details will be coming out. But what's important to take away from this is that we're working in lockstep with public health, making sure that we're checking all the boxes, and safety is paramount for this initiative for sure.
Okay, Matt, were you looking to ask something there? Sorry.
Yeah, well, how many people are you going to have for this? Because it seems like, if you're driving by every single house in the municipality, that seems like a lot of people you're going to have to get out on the road. It is, and I think when we had the idea, we knew that it was going to be a serious. That's why it's called the Miracle, because if we're able to pull this off, what else would you call it? So yeah, no kidding.
We've had when our website went live Friday at about 10 after 12 p.m. And in the first 48 hours of being live, we had 220 people volunteer on the website to participate, which I'm blown away. I mentioned on our Zoom call last Thursday that if I tried to pull this off in different communities, I'd probably get told to pound salt. But here in Chatham-Kent, you have 220 people within 2 days saying, I want to participate. And I think it's only going to go up. So 4 seconds after launching the site was our first inbound request, and they've been rolling in ever since, and my phone's been vibrating ever since. So it is a tall ask, believe me. It is, but I'm I'm inspired and shocked by the amount of people that are participating. I think the way things are going, I think we can do it. I really do. We need some more volunteers, but I think it's possible. And to that logistics point, we just have to get as many people on safely in their neighborhoods to volunteer, pick this up, and drop it off at a local food bank. So that's a tall order for sure.
James, your story itself is kind of a neat story to tell. You mentioned you're not a local guy, but what is your background? Where's home, and how did you end up in Thamesville?
Well, home is here. It is, but just 6 years ago, I was working in the advertising world. You work long hours, and I was traveling quite a bit. And at the time, it was a decision about where should home base be. If home base doesn't have to be in downtown Toronto, where could it be? So that's why Chatham seemed like a natural option. So I was working at the time in Toronto, traveling a lot, and living here locally. Have 2 young children in the school system, and then I took another job where I was traveling a lot, and I started my own advertising agency probably 4 years ago. So I'm able to go to our office 2 days a week, work from home 3 days a week. Sometimes I have to travel more, but it sounds like a really hectic schedule. But I always tell people I see my children and family more now than I ever have.
Yeah.
Because when I'm here locally, I can take them to school, I can pick them up, I can spend all night with them. So it's my schedule. So it sounds like a really insane arrangement, but it actually is works really, really well.
It is pretty neat. Now your company is called Lemonade Limited, is that right?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
And you have worked with some ads, some projects that we would recognize right off the bat. I know you had one involved with the Super Bowl this year, right?
We worked actually with Montana's the restaurant chain, and we did some TV spots for them, and those ran over throughout the NFL playoffs. We do some fun work with some fun clients, and what's really special about this now is we're starting to work in some local talent from Chatham. I mean, you guys pack a punch down here, which I don't think people are exposed to outside of Chatham-Kent much, but we've worked with, for example, Guided Creative, Ben Sorokas and Jonathan Abrisimov. You know, we did those TV spots with them. We actually did another Kelsey's TV spot with them before the COVID issue broke out, which will be airing soon. So yes, we work with fun clients, but I think one of the coolest parts about this is being able to integrate local talent in that as well, because, you know, there's a ton of talent here, and it's fun. It's fun to find that work with it, and it's good for Chatham-Kent as well.
And I thought that was the neat part about getting you on is obviously you've worked with some pretty big names Canada-wide, and sometimes here in Chatham-Kent, I feel that sometimes we're like, man, it's just Chatham-Kent, whatever, and you get an outside look into it, and there is a different outlook on things.
Oh, I got to meet Brent Foster probably 5 years ago.
Yeah,
and that guy has more talent in a baby finger than I do in my whole body. So, you know, I think there is such a, and these are only a small group of people, but there's talent everywhere. So it's quite enjoyable.
Very nice. Jen, I thought I saw your hand up. Are you waving or just itching?
I actually have 2 questions. Is there a significance of the date, May 16th?
Well, at the time I didn't realize this, but it is my daughter's birthday. I mean,
Nice.
Wait, can you edit that out? I'm kidding. So I wasn't really paying attention at the time. But I think all we were trying to do was find a date that was far enough away to allow us to plan accordingly. A date that was far enough away where the weather hopefully wouldn't be snowing.
Yeah.
And that was really it. So setting it out far enough for us to plan health and safety, plan the marketing, plan logistics. You know, as you mentioned a couple of times, it is quite the feat. So giving us space was important.
For sure. Jen, what else did you have there?
Is there any way that people can volunteer if they're not comfortable with being out and going to pick up food? Like, is there different areas that they could help out?
Yeah, so because we don't have a really big budget, well, we have no budget for this, so influencing would be really good. So what I mean by that is people to share our social media messages, like them, comment on them. That's a huge help for us. And that's a really powerful way that if you can't be part of the movement or part of it logistically, it'd be huge. Also, we're just looking for people to celebrate the best way they can. So if it's putting a sign in a window or if it's I've seen people doing wax on their car, May 16th, sidewalk chalk, kids drawing posters. So, and any involvement in this, it isn't too small, honestly. Like, it's not too small. Telling someone on text, hey, have you heard about the miracle? That in itself is a really big help for us. So, yeah.
So we'll obviously we'll talk to you about it now, but we're talking about it again on the air. We'll have to get you on the air at some point. But in the meantime, we want people to go to may16miracle.com and register yourself, and we'll have more information as we get a little closer to that date. But James, we appreciate your time, and we have to get you on again at some point because your story is pretty cool too, and the fact that you're kicking around right here in Chatham-Kent, it's a cool story. So
I appreciate you guys putting your support behind this. It's huge. And thanks for joining calls with us. There is no action that's too tiny, and I really do think if we can do this, we're going to look back and say that was definitely a miracle. So I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Perfect. Thank you. James Rasmussen is with us. Lemonade Limited is his company, and may16miracle.com is the website. So thank you, James. That's pretty cool. So we did get a couple comments here. I want to get, look at our wardrobe is getting. Tim says, love the shirt, Jen. Show it off again there. Show off what you got.
The child.
I see. Yeah, the child. There you go. And I get nice sweater, Chris McLeod. As expected. That's what you get when your slow pitch buddies learn how to use the internet. Then you're in big trouble. So, Karis Lee Carpenter, let's see if we got you figured out here.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, there we go.
Sweet.
We go.
Okay,
Sorry,
I was hoping the video wouldn't work and the audio would. But we got
nice.
that reversed. Okay.
No. Well, we appreciate you sticking around and waiting things out and making sure we got you on here. Karis is with Chatham-Kent Public Health, and obviously, am I looking right? Are you still in the office right now?
That's what it looks like.
Yeah, time doesn't stop here. Yeah, I'm still here.
Things have been crazy for you here as of late. Pandemic was what day did we cancel things? Was it March 12th? Was that like the first day we really started hearing like sports leagues closing down, and that's going back to mid-March. When was this on your radar, Karis, in the public health unit?
So if it was mid-March for the rest of the world, I feel like end of February when things started getting a little crazy around here. When we knew it was coming. And we had obviously been hearing news around the rest of the world, but when our real, like when Dr. Colby and when we knew that it was going to be localized, not just in Canada, not Ontario, but worldwide, it would be the end of February, and we started working really quickly. I said a bunch of times along the process, it was kind of like building a plane while flying it. So it was here, but there was so much that we needed to prepare for a pandemic. A lot of the stuff is what public health does anyway. A lot of this stuff like quarantining, contact tracing, this is the first time people have really heard about it. The general public's really heard about it, but it's so much of what CK Public Health does all the time. Before pandemics, if there's an outbreak in long-term care, that sort of thing. So it's kind of, but this large scale, obviously, we had to do a lot of work in order to get to where we are right now, which is maintenance.
and a lot of the work too is, and correct me if I'm wrong, it's just getting that information out there. It's just getting it out there, and obviously through the radio and the newspaper and whatever other devices, social media, is to get that to people and get that in their hands. So we know at the radio station, what end is up some days, but I can imagine at your end, you're getting the same kind of craziness, right?
Right. So public health handles it right from the beginning. So when an order comes down from the ministry, we get it, and then we have to disseminate that. And there's a process we have to go about disseminating it, and privacy and this and that. There's a lot of things we have to work around, but it's the orders that come down, the direction that comes down. If you see anything in the press, that's because we've issued a press release. So it's always started with us disseminating it. We have a really wonderful website it's a one-stop shop. It has absolutely everything you could imagine for related to COVID-19 in Chatham-Kent. It has, if you're seeking care, you think you might have symptoms yourself, info for travelers, anything we've ever done on the radio with you guys, any other stations. all of the press releases we've ever put out, all that information's there. Closures. So that's a lot of what our intake line gets a lot too. I want to go for a stroll, but I don't know if it's okay. Is so-and-so closed? You can find that all on our closures page. But you're entirely right. Getting that information out in a world it's changing every minute. Like we get new updates all constantly. We have one person designated to our website that's just all day, amongst other things, but all day just making sure that the most updated directives up there, the most updated information. People say, like, I feel like things are changing every minute, and they are. Like, they're changing every minute, and we're trying to work really hard to get the most information out. And then, and sorry if I'm running on here, but
that's right.
It's worrying about, yes, the general public, but then we have so many different areas like older adults and seniors that are looking for different information than maybe a parent of young children during this whole thing, who's looking for a little bit of different information than someone who speaks English as a second language. So it's preparing all of that mainstream information, but then really trying to focus on those really vulnerable populations who are experiencing different things than you or I are in this pandemic.
And what is that website, just so I make sure we get that out there?
ckpublichealth.com/COVID-19. We made it really easy. If that's even too much, just go to ckpublichealth.com. There's a large red banner at the top. Click for more information.
ckpublichealth.com/COVID-19.
Yeah.
Perfect. All right. There. I'll throw it up there on the bottom of the screen right now. There's where you can find it. So if you want to track it down, you get all that information right there. Matt, we had in the newsroom side of things today, you were following this story quite closely. Maybe we can get a little more on that.
Yep. So that big outbreak, and I mean, the biggest one in Chatham-Kent so far, turns out a lot of workers at the same greenhouse in Kent Bridge area, Green Hill Produce, and that just came out. I remember, well, I got a text from one of our weekend crew who was working Sunday night, and she was like, "Hey, just a heads up, this is a big story going to be coming out." So that was just 11 at first. Then I think by the evening it was 22, and now it's all the way up to 40, at least the last we heard anyways. So what kind of logistics goes into that now? What do you guys have to do? What's your role in that?
So we have been working with Green Hill ever since the very first case. Where we've been lucky is we haven't had an outbreak within a long-term care setting like most of our neighboring health units have, but this is one of the larger ones between community living and then now with Green Hill, where it's a communal setting, and we've had and unfortunately had an outbreak, but we've been working with them the whole time. So people hear contact tracing a lot. So what that means is our communicable disease team goes in and they're contacting anyone who's come into close contact with those people who either have symptoms or have tested positive. And if you've seen, I'm sure all of you have, almost like an FBI show where they have a big wall full of like, oh, this person's connected to this person and this and this. It's
Yeah.
They work 24 hours sometimes to try to map it all out because they have to work very quickly, obviously, when it comes to trying to map all this stuff out. So they do all of the contact tracing. People are isolated immediately, and Green Hills worked really well with Dr. Colby to make sure that once people are showing symptoms or once they've tested positive, they're completely isolated. So obviously Green Hill, but of course public health, our main concern is the health of people, the health of the public. So not just the workers, but also the community. And I mean, as you can imagine, it'd be it's incredibly scary to be from here and have this pandemic happening. So to be a worker that might not be from Canada and you're here, you're away from your family, we've been working with them as well. We've been getting a lot of the stuff for infection control translated over into whatever language they're speaking if they don't happen to be speaking workers. So there's a lot of different contact points that we're working with them, but the outbreak is contained. Dr. Colby said this morning that he believes it's contained. We do still have some numbers trickling in. So if you still see a rise a little bit, that's because the tests have been done. We've tested everybody at the plant, all the employees. So the tests have been done. We're waiting for them to come in now. And hopefully it doesn't grow any larger because they are abiding by the isolation. So.
What is public health doing? Obviously, that's the first major outbreak we've seen in Chatham-Kent, and knock on wood, we haven't seen anything in any long-term care homes. What is the health unit doing in that respect to make sure that we don't?
Right. So there is a directive from the Ministry of Ontario saying that we now have the ability to go into each long-term care home and test any asymptomatic. So anyone that works there or is a resident there that doesn't show symptoms. Obviously, if they were showing symptoms before they're getting tested, they're assessed. But this kind of allows us to get a full picture of everyone, whether they're symptomatic or not, that works in long-term care or is a resident in long-term care. So we're doing that. We actually started that a couple of days ago. And that's another thing where it was announced, we had the ability to do so, and immediately our team started working, putting together a plan of, okay, how are we going to do this? So partnered with Chatham Kent Health Alliance, as well as the paramedics here, and they have a mobile bus where they're going out to each one, mobile van, whatever you want to call it, and they're getting those assessments done, and we're getting the negatives back. So far, so good. But of course, if there ever was a positive or anything, we would be notifying the public on that, on our page there that has the current situation in Chatham Kent, which is people's favorite page to track those sort of numbers.
Yeah.
I got one last question for me. I don't know if you guys have anything else, but which news outlet is the biggest pain in your butt? Is it Blackburn News? Is it Matt Weavering?
I love them all. I love them all.
No, you don't have to answer that. That's all right. That's all right. That's all
The
right.
media has been incredible. We've had people on all stations across Chatham Kent, and we've had very limited, like, we know the media right now is, everyone's struggling. This is a crazy economic, who could have ever, we're all changing things. Look at, normally I'd be on air right now, right in front of doing all these different things. And the media has just been one of those incredible, like, thanks for having our back in these sort of things, because any way we can get the word out, we've been offered the opportunity to do so, and we're super thankful.
Well, you've been helpful too, because I know we've connected on multiple occasions, getting guests on, and from Dr. Colby down to somebody that can talk to us about this or that or whatever, and we'll continue to do that as well. Jen, were you?
Yeah. It's okay. I've seen.
I only see a little corner of Jen. That's all, and I can't tell if she's waving or she's scratching. So that's why I'm wondering. Sorry. Go ahead, Jen.
It's all good. At the radio station, we've seen questions come in, if we've had other healthcare professionals on, about releasing names of people who have tested positive to further track who they've seen. For example, if I tested positive, put my name out so Matt and Chris can know if they've been around me or whatever. Can you explain why we can't do that?
Yeah, for sure. So a lot of people want to know, right? And I think that it comes from a genuine place of they want themselves and their families to be protected. But we have privacy acts and privacy policies that we have to abide by on a national level, on a provincial level. And we do this with everything. So it's the same thing as if you were to go, not to compare this to, but if you were to go to our sexual health clinic and you had something, you wouldn't want your name published. Like, there's things that people want to protect. This is the same thing. If there's an increased risk to the public, we would deliver that. It's the same thing when people want to know which workplace. Well, if it's not a workplace that's accessible to the public, let the professionals do their job. Let the contact tracers go in there, do their job, and you'll be notified if there's a greater risk to the public. The second that Green Hill got a little larger than we had anticipated, we started working with them. We started working with their HR and communications to put something out. Same thing happened at Community Living. Community Living was wonderful. They did their own communications right off the get-go, because we don't want to hide things from the public. I think a lot of the time we get a lot of, what are you hiding? And it's like, I'm a resident of Chatham Kent. I have been my whole life. I always will be. And we don't want to hide anything from the public. We want to share as much as we can, especially if there's an increased risk, because it's an increased risk to our families as well. And we want to share as much as we can while abiding by those privacy laws that we have to.
Isn't it sort of the person who tests positive, isn't it sort of their responsibility too, to be like, hey, friends and family, this is what happened?
They have the freedom to do so if they want. But if they're being honest and working along with our public health team and they're doing contact tracing, they won't have to, because a public health nurse would be getting a hold of anyone they've come into contact with. And a lot of people have been self-isolating. Like, a lot of people, most people are, I'm going to use this opportunity to say Chatham Kent has done wonderfully in terms of people listening to the directions of physical distancing and of isolating when they need to. We hear of 1 or 2 stories here and there, but they're really far and few between when it comes to the amount of people who are taking this very seriously. So I think we should commend the residents of Chatham-Kent for that. Our numbers would be incredibly different. We'd be have an incredibly different story here locally if people didn't do as well as they're doing. So I think great job to the residents here, but I don't know where that rant started, but
Chatham rant rave.
yeah, there we go.
Probably, anyways.
There's a media outlet that's a little bit of a pain to answer your last question.
I don't know if you could share this, but what's the craziest tip line call you've gotten? Like the craziest kind of thing you've had to deal with.
Been reported,
I can tell you, so I'm not one of our tireless intake people on the email. I do get some when they are, it's a more media related, but I'm sure anything that you could imagine has come in. Thousands of calls since this all started, like 5,000 calls they've been dealing with as of today at noon. That was the numbers. Over 1,000 emails. Like there's so many things. A lot of people just concerned, do I have symptoms? Ranging from my buddy has people next door in the garage, get them. Like there's lots of things to cover everything. But yeah, I could be the craziest thing. That would be a next person to have on is someone from the intake lines, and they can just share it with you some
show and tell.
Yes, we need to do that. Is there any chance you can pan over and show me the map so I can see if anybody's been in my neighborhood? That's
not even COVID related.
Oh, okay.
I just have hand sanitizer. I don't have a cool shirt like Jen.
Oh.
No show and tell.
Thank you.
It's an empty snack jar. Like that's all. They don't even feed us around here.
That's the same at my house too. That's
well, they emptied the vending machine at our work too. So
yeah, it's been rough go. I'll tell you that much. Karis, we appreciate it. Guys, do you have anything else before we? No, we're all good. All right, Karis, thank you so much. We appreciate it. We'll be in touch again, and obviously we appreciate what you've done to get people on the air with us and making that happen. But we'll contact each other over email here real soon. Thanks for getting the technical details figured out.
Thanks, guys. Stay safe.
Thanks.
See you later. Bye bye. There you go. Thank you very much. Your shirt should have been the show and tell tonight, Jen. That's been the biggest hit here.
I think it's hilarious because it looks like it's staring right at everyone.
Yeah, it does. Everyone's giving, like, you could just see it poking right over there. Love it. Love it. I'm just happy to not see you in that same sweater I've seen you in for the last 3 weeks.
You know, I do laundry, right? Like, I have a washing machine.
News to me. You've been
really,
wearing.
I've seen you wear the same thing multiple times too.
Yeah,
but I don't go sharing it with the world.
With the world. Don't get so defensive if you don't.
And
wear
no
the same
one
thing.
comment on my hair if you've seen Christopher's in the morning on air. We have to do a webcam thing, so I get to see it.
Look at that.
Talk about rant rave
That's
here.
it. Yeah, rant rave.
This is, someone's on her soapbox. Wow. That's too funny. Thank you guys for the comments here tonight. We do appreciate it. Thanks to Karis again for getting those technical issues figured out. And again, that website, ckpublichealth.com/COVID-19. I know, Matt, from the newsroom side of things, you've been checking that on a daily basis with those updates.
Yeah,
so.
I'm refreshing it all the time. Yeah, I'm going there every day, at least a couple times.
Yeah, and if you haven't been there, you should go check it out. Jason's going to stick up for Jen. You go, Jen.
Thanks.
LOL. We appreciate that. And thanks to James Rasmussen too, the May 16th Miracle. Go check that out. We'll be talking about that more on the air as we go. But that big food drive, which is getting closer, here's some information right here. We'll kick that off for you. They need our help. May 16th at noon. We're going to be picking up some food, and we'll talk more about it. But go to the website may16miracle.com. Get all the information right there, and we'll be ready to go on the 16th of May. So there you go. I think that's it, guys. We all good?
All good?
We're all good. All right. We'll talk to you tomorrow morning on CK Mornings from 5:30 to 10 on CKSY. Thanks for tuning in here tonight.